Welcome to the Fight Night Daily Podcast. You can see it's the end of the weigh-ins. The big men have just weighed in. Let's start on the big men. 5 stone in weight difference, Spencer Oliver, between Zhilei Zhang and Deontay Wilder. That is enormous.
Yeah, absolutely. Zhilei Zhang weighed in at 20 stone 1 pound. Deontay Wilder 15 stone 2 pounds. Couldn't believe that. That's under bridger weight for Deontay Wilder. Zhilei Zhang will start a huge favourite going into this one on the basis of their last performances.
And also is a big favourite because how skillful he is in those first few rounds and showing his angles from that southpaw stance. Deontay Wilder will need to capitalise early and get Zhang's respect with that enormous power he has.
Absolutely, I think for Deontay Wilder, there's got to be a lot of movement in the first half of the contest. He's got to try and draw Zhang on, try and force him into making mistakes, and more importantly, try and tire him down, wear him down, and then go for it in the second half of the contest. For Zhilei Zhang, I think it's a case of stalking forward and letting those big left crosses go and those right hooks over the top. Deceptively quick for a big man is Zhilei Zhang. This could be a tough night for Deontay Wilder.
Absolutely. Just before that, Filip Hrgović and Daniel Dubois both weighed in very close in weight, 17.5 stone, the pair of them pretty much.
Yep, I think Filip Hrgović weighed 17.5 stone, Daniel Dubois 17 stone 5 pounds, nothing between these ones. Speaking to Don Charles earlier on, the trainer of Daniel Dubois, he said, I'm up for this, and he fancies it. He feels that the loss to Alexander Usyk was the moulding of Daniel Dubois, only 26 years of age. He's the underdog, but possibly starts the favourite for me.
Joseph, thanks for joining us. As always, Joseph Parker, former heavyweight champion, who's out here as a guest of honour. 5 stone in weight difference between Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang. What do you make of that?
Zhang looks like he's trimmed down.
By 10 pounds, but he's still 5 stone heavier.
Still 5 stone heavier. It does make a difference the weight, but I mean, he's not the best in terms of upper body movement, but he's got deceptively fast feet. So I think he's going to be a lot more conditioned this fight.
I remember him being dangerous early against you.
Very, very dangerous, yeah. Third round, yeah.
I mean, both guys' last fights, they were a loss to yourself. You've been in with both of them. Going off the back of that, Joseph, who do you think starts favourite in this contest? Who do you believe wins?
I believe, for some reason, something's telling me that Wilder's going to win.
Wow.
That's all right. But Zhang, like you said, dangerous in the beginning, but then as time goes on, it sort of fades a bit.
The other heavyweight fights, 17.5 and 17.5 and a bit for Filip Hrgović and Daniel Dubois. What did you make of those two when they came out tonight?
They both look ready, and they're both going back and forth with each other, going to knock each other out. That's the fight I'm excited about too. I can't wait to watch that one.
You possibly could be looking for the winner of that contest if that fight doesn't happen with Anthony Joshua. You're right in the mix now. You're in the top 3 or 4 heavyweights in the world.
Yeah.
So who do you believe out of Hrgović and Dubois will win that contest, like going off their last contest?
Going off their last contest, Dubois got a lot of heart, but I'm siding with Hrgović a little bit. I'm not sure why. Maybe the height, reach, the experience. I think Dubois has been more tested though in the heavyweight ranks, heavyweight game.
We'll let you go to your VIP function you got to go to. Thanks for joining us as always.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're
Cheers,
always
brother. Thank you very
VIP,
much.
Joseph. You know that, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Joseph. Cheers.
Thank you.
Joseph Parker there, the former world champion. Let's go down the card. Let's go from the bottom up now. Bivol against Iman. Bivol looked so composed. Post-fight weigh-in speech. Said he won't underestimate his opponent. Looks physically amazing. I thought his opponent looked a little bit overawed by him tonight in those final stare-offs.
Listen, Sanid is a guy that comes with a great record, 22-0, 16 KOs. Looks great on paper, but you look down the list, there's no real names there. You look at him on YouTube, you study him on YouTube. Yeah, he's a good fighter. He's got a good right hand, carries his chin a little bit high, but guess what? It's about levels. He's never operated on this sort of level. Dmitry Bivol's been there, seen it, done it. Beat the best pound-for-pound star in Canelo Alvarez. The guy is used to this sort of, these surroundings. And I think beating Lyndon Arthur here in Saudi back in December stands him in good stead. So needs him for a tough fight. Big opportunity for him, Gareth.
Yeah.
But it's about levels, and I think I go Bivol to win inside the distance.
And the other thing, we've had Opetaia standing with us tonight in the weigh-in. I tell you what, I've been with Beterbiev. He's kind of my size. I don't see him being big enough to fight Jai Opetaia anytime soon.
No.
Even though a lot of people want that contest. Nick Ball, Ray Ford, height and reach advantages for Ray Ford. The world title fight on the line here at featherweight. How do you see it, Spencer?
This is a tough one to call, Gareth. We've talked off camera on this one. I've gone one way, then I've gone the other, then I've gone back. Ray Ford has been training with a sweatsuit on this week. Anybody that knows 42 degrees heat out here, don't need a sweatsuit. Tells you that he's struggling to make the weight. Rumours were he was moving up to super feather as opposed to defending his title. Now this fight has been made. Nick Ball was very unfortunate last time. I'm going to lean towards our guy to do it. Why? Ray Ford's a great fighter, but I think the weight might be getting the better of him. And out here, second half of the fight, it may catch up with him.
That's a very good point, but it is cool in the arena. Kolmatov, Ray Ford fought the last time, 2 minutes 53 seconds into the 12th round. He's an amazing survivor, of course. I've just got Ray Ford catching Nick as he swarms in. It's going to be a very close fight. It's a very close fight. We've got people talking back home. They've got loads going on here. The Scousers are out here for Nick Ball, of course, one of his supporters here. Listen, if he swarms and swarms and swarms Ray Ford, he can take the title. Should be a world champion already, in my view.
Absolutely.
Beat Ray Vargas for the WBC title. He's got to go in there. My heart says Nick Ball, but my head says Ray Ford.
Yeah, listen, it's not a bad shout. I'm leaning towards Nick Ball because I just think he's very persistent, and I think that he may catch. He'll come from behind. I think that Ford may start well in the first 6. He will be in front. He's a class operator, and he's tough. He showed that on winning the world title. You know, he's got that in him. But I just think something inside me tells me, see the size of Ray Ford up there on the scales. He's huge. He must have drained down a lot to make the weight, and I think that something tells me Nick Ball and his persistence wins the fight.
There are loads of Warrens everywhere. There's one Warren of Warrens. And we've got Francis with us. We were just talking about Nick Ball and Ray Ford. It's a pick'em, of course. Nick Ball's your guy. Our heart is with Nick, but my head is with Ray Ford at times. Very difficult pick. Your man, first of all, Daniel Dubois heavyweight against Filip Hrgovic. How do you feel in that fight?
I think Daniel's got to use the experience from especially the Usyk fight and you know parts of the Joe Joyce fight where I think he probably went too much too quickly, and you know I think he needs to conserve some energy unless he's going to go out there and really try and do a quick job on Hrgovic, which probably is not advisable. He's got to conserve some energy to be able to see him through the late rounds because Philip's one tough guy and will be on him non-stop. But I fancy both guys to get tired out and Daniel to stop him late on.
And what about the big Chinaman, Jile Zhang, against Deontay Wilder? 5 stone in weight difference.
It's unreal, and I think I think Gilles, he's got every opportunity to go and just walk straight through Deontay just because of that sheer size and power he's got behind him. But Deontay, we all know, both his hands just possess dynamite, and if Chile's on the wrong end of one of them, we're in trouble in that fight.
And just throwing away from the weigh-in just for a moment, you've got a fantastic stable of fighters you developed or developing all the time, Francis. It's a great time to be in that area of the sport. You've got this absolute superstar, young superstar who's out here. We all love him already. We're on the journey with him. Mo Zitami was on the podcast with us last night. How great is it to be around that young character and be able to mould him like you are?
It's revitalised my love for boxing. Alongside these sorts of events and the terrific events that Queensberry are putting on at home. It's no secret as to why Bob Aaron's still doing it at 92 and my dad's still doing it at 72. It's because being around these young, enthusiastic guys, it makes you go, come on, we want some more.
Francis, we had that conversation yesterday, didn't we? And I said to you, listen, where you've been, what's going on, and blah, blah, blah. And he said, look, Spence, I found the golden goose in Francis, in Moses, Itoma. He goes, look, how good the kid is. I did. All right, you said, all right, you
future superstar.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing, golden goose, future superstar. But and I was with you on that, mate. I go, sometimes you get it and you go, we've got a special talent. We saw a young Mike Tyson coming through. You look at him, all right, stylistically different, but what I'm saying is when they're going to be a world champion. And I've been around the game long enough to go, that kid with the right development and the right, which they're doing with him, they're keeping him regular, busy, he wins a world title. He's the one that takes the baton from all these heavyweights.
I totally agree. And you be around, it's a pleasure to be around, and he sits, he smiles, he stops and talks to everybody. There's not one bit of attitude in him until he gets in the ring and he's got seriously bad intentions when he gets through the ropes. But before that, he's a pleasure to be around.
And the thing is about him, this is what I like about him, you get to know him, he was very kind of surly to begin with. When you get to know him, and I know,
he's
but,
right, he's a
but
baby.
we pinch ourselves not realising that he's that age. Do you ever?
I do, because I sit there and have quite, very deep conversations.
I mean,
with
could
him.
you imagine putting an 18-year-old kid in front of him and he's not going to freeze up?
No, I know. I mean,
He doesn't.
I know he don't, but
No,
I'm
he's
saying
so
when he
confident.
started out, he was a little bit
You
reserved.
brought him to a
Was coming
studio,
out
to
of
a
himself
show I
now.
was doing though,
Yeah.
and within half an hour, Spencer, he's
Come
someone.
out of his shell.
He's got an intelligence about him. That's what I like about him. Obviously, he can fight.
But
There's a personal intelligence.
He thinks
about
about what he's going to say before he says it. He doesn't rush into anything. He's very concise and very precise in the replies he gives to people, and he thinks about what he says. It's not just like slapdash comments. He's very mature, and he's a deep thinker. Very funny as well. You get him one-on-one.
He's a good character.
Seriously
Big
funny
character.
guy.
Let's get back on the card. Willie Hutchinson, the underdog of your stable, the Queensbury stable, Frank's side, your father's side, against Craig Richards. Bit of a dark build-up to this accusations of comments from Willie Hutchinson. We know what Willie's like. He's wild and ADHD and out there, isn't he, with whatever he does. A lot of heat between those two up there. They were butting, weren't they? They were pulled apart, arms held together. It's a hard fight for Willie, but what does he have to do in this contest, in your view?
Concentrate, massively concentrate. I think even says Hurricane Hutchinson that he's going to try and go in there and blast through Craig Richards, but that's just not the way. We all know that's not the way to do it. Craig's a seasoned pro, and it's a tough fight for Willie, but he's got to be strong.
For Hutchinson, listen, it's a coming of age fight for him. Let's make no,
Yeah.
I think that
Upper
Craig
level
Richards
or two.
has been there, seen it,
Yeah.
done it, been in with
Bivol.
Bivol, pushed him all the way. We know how difficult he is. That Joshua Boatsy, we know how hard he is. He's more difficult to box than you think with Craig Richards. He's got that unorthodox, awkward, jerky sort of style.
Long.
Very difficult to work out. For Hutchinson, he's not been there yet. We ain't seen it. The only loss in his record to Lennox Clark. He's gone away. He's rebuilt. He's come back better, stronger. But it's a coming of age fight.
Yeah,
You go,
he's
of course he
really
starts the
knuckled
underdog because Richards has been there and Hutchinson hasn't.
Yeah.
So for that reason only, you have to go Richardson. Richards, sorry.
You go Richardson.
Yeah.
Now that is
that's
a bet.
both of them. That's the both of them. That's the both of them. You have to go Richards on the basis of that.
I just think Willie's he hasn't got to show him the respect that probably Craig deserves, and I think that's kind of if it's most guys will go in there and jab, but this is Willie Hutchinson. He will go in there and just try. I think he's going to try.
He
to
just
take
loves
him.
to tear up,
Yeah,
doesn't
loves to tear up.
He does, but I think he's got great feet. I think he's a
Well, he's
very
world-
skillful
world- former
boxer.
world amateur
I
champion,
think
so
he's
he's
a
got
really
pedigree.
skillful. I think this is his moment to shine. I think he might have even said that this week, and I'm putting my faith in. We're going to do
Right,
our five.
hold on, right.
No,
Yeah,
wait,
but are you
wait,
going
wait.
Hutchinson?
Wait. We're
I
going to
think
do
if
it.
you go Hutchinson, I'll go Richards.
Wait,
One of us will be right.
We're going to do it at the end. We're going to do our five at the end, and then Hamza Shiras, because it's the last one we haven't spoken about. We'll get Francis to talk with us, and then we'll wrap. Hamza Shiras and Amma Williams. Again, southpaw, slick, African-American fighter, wired and out there. Hamza very quiet, kind of composed, tall.
He holds his
space.
shape, but throws shots very well on the inside. Hamza Shiraz, Ammo Williams goes on the outside. His American sort of style, hooks on the outside. That will be his undoing against Shiraz, who's a great. He'll hold tight. He throws shots straight down the pipe. For me, Shiraz wins that one, and he wins it. He wins it inside the distance.
Go on, Francis.
He wins it.
before we let you
He
go.
wins it with a big 1-2 straight down the pipe, and that's for me. I think that might go early.
That's
one.
all he.
Okay, fine. Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
chaps.
Francis,
God
as
bless you,
always.
mate. Cheers, Francis.
Right.
Cheers, mate.
We'll Jai, come on in with us, bud. Come on in, Jai.
Now
we're
this
going
is-
to do
now-
it. We're
now
gonna
now
do
we've got a superstar in a place here.
There's loads of
Jai, man.
superstars here.
No, yeah, but this guy's
Still a long way
monster.
to go. And this is another man that has his feet on the ground. You don't go too far beyond where you are, do you?
Oh man, I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be part of these big fight nights. These are historic, so it's good to be here. Man.
You may face some heavyweights in the future who are 3 or 4 stone heavier than you. How will Deontay Wilder combat Zhilei Zhang, 5 stone heavier than him when they go in? They're 68 pounds heavier.
Man, that's a weird. Because normally when you're the lighter bloke, you got to box and fight smart, but he does the complete opposite. He throws bombs. So, he just, and especially being a southpaw against an orthodox, that straight right hand's dangerous. So, it's a
You're
very
favouring
exciting
Wilder?
fight. I don't know. Well, I'll favour, man. Any of those boys, they hold the upsetting power. So whoever lands is in a good position. So.
Spencer's already analysed Daniel Dubois. and Filip Hrgovic for us. How do you see it? They're very equal in weight. They look great up there. They never went nose to nose. They kept a bit of distance. How do you see that one?
I see Daniel winning that. You know, I think he's going to get the W for that one. So.
A man that knows his boxing as well. Trust me on that one.
When are we going to see you back?
Well, we're hoping for September.
Is that London then?
Yeah. Nothing's
title?
locked in. You know, nothing's locked in. I'm hoping to fight for another world title. You know, a unification fight is what I've been chasing, so I'm hoping to get it. But man, I want to get back on the cards.
Can I just say, respect to this man for coming on and doing this today. By the way, he's been travelling 21 hours to get here today. 21 hours, come straight in and done interviews. Jai, honestly, great win as well against Marius Bredas a couple of weeks ago.
Always a pleasure. Cheers, thank you, Jai.
Bless
And we're
you,
just
mate.
going to get
Thank you
Teddy
so much.
Atlas, who's going to come in with us now. Let's get Teddy in to finish off us. Teddy, Teddy, come in and join us on the show. Great to see you as always.
Oh, he said it.
I think
Great
we spent.
seeing you, mate. You're very well. You
I
too.
think we spent about half an hour together in the gym. You lifted 4 weights, and I think I cycled for about 10 minutes earlier on in the gym. It's great to see you here. Great card.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to ask me for that. That's been affirmed by many people. You know what's really spectacular and different about it is that less than 2 weeks ago, think about this, less than 2 weeks ago, we just unified the heavyweight champion for the first time in this sport in 25 years. And then what happens? You take a deep breath, you take a little vacation. No, you come back with this.
It's insane.
See, you have to put it in the proper perspective. That's what makes it really crazy and it's like you just climbed Mount McKinley and now you say, well, I'm going to go to Mount Everest.
Yeah.
You know, like instead of taking a little break, you go from an unbelievable event that helped the sport, that made the sport healthier, that made the fans happier, and then you come back with this 5 fights that each individually could make a top card.
Absolutely. Anywhere in the world.
Yeah. And here's the best part. You could make an argument, and anytime you could do this, you know you have gold. You could make an argument, a legitimate argument, because
For either man in all
for
5
either
fights.
guy.
In all 5. Okay, well, let's do it then.
Let's do it.
Willie Hutchinson and Craig Richards.
You know, that Richards.
Yeah, he did that earlier. He tried to pick both.
Yeah, no, but
You go Richards.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take it with his experience. We're talking about the guy who went the distance with Bivol, right?
That's right.
Yeah, his experience. I think it's time. You know, I know he's 35 and everything else, but the other kid is really good, but I just think that with all the experience he's been through, that this is the right spot for him. Like the other ones were maybe a little bit before his time.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Spence,
I agree.
your man?
Yeah,
Who are you going for in the 2?
I'd say the same thing.
Richards.
Craig
And I'm
Richards.
going for Hutchinson just to be awkward.
I'm confident.
And I
No,
think
no,
the
no,
youngster will
experience.
outbox him.
No,
I
you're
just
not-
think
you're not-
he was an amateur world champion. He hasn't proved his best
No,
yet.
he's
I just
terrific.
think he's got it.
No, listen, you're taking a favorite. He is the slight favorite. I'm here to
No,
keep-
no, Richards is the favourite.
You sure?
Yes,
Yeah,
Richards
Craig
is the
Richards is
favourite.
the favourite.
So we're going to go on to the next
All
fight.
right.
Ray Ford against Nick Ball, 2 terrific
Yeah, that's
featherweights.
incredible.
Both fighters, both survivors. Who you got in that
I'm
one?
going to edge it out with. You have to pick someone. That's the problem. I'm going to edge it out with Ford, only because he's multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
And listen, Ball. I think people miss a dimension on him. We know he's a go-get-you guy. We know he's a seek and destroy guy. We know, he's a guy that when the bell rings, he
And he's got an engine.
He introduces himself right away. You know, he's not shy. But Ford is a guy who he can go fight you and he can box, he can counterpunch. But I give Ball. I want to make sure he gets his due, where he's not just a bull in a china shop. The guy's got a good jab. He's got
He's
a
smart.
good.
He's got a good boxing IQ.
arm. You know, he tucks himself up pretty good.
But he's going to have to feint in close range,
But
and he's
here's
going to
the
have to
thing that he
work with
won't.
the ball.
Here's the thing he won't have to do from the last fight. He won't have to jump at the guy. He won't have to reach in. He won't have to charge in. He was fighting a much taller guy who liked to control the outside and had real good legs. And he was coming crazy with left hooks in spots. And he caught him. He dropped him twice.
Kamatov, you mean, the
Yeah,
Russian?
yeah, in his last fight when he had to draw, where a lot of people thought he won. You know, he was forced to to get a
Bull.
To get Bull. I'm talking about
Vargas,
Bull.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm talking about Bull.
Against Vargas,
he
yeah.
was forced to get a little reckless.
Yeah.
Because of the length
Yeah,
of the
sure,
guy and
sure.
the height of the guy.
Sure.
He won't have that problem. He
Correct.
could be more contained,
Sure.
a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
more physically tucked up. And I've seen it where he's got a.
He's
good,
not going to have to throw that leaping left
No,
hook
he
all
won't
the time.
have to.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he's got a good, hard, straight, strong jab.
Okay.
And one
Paul
other
showed
thing.
a lot of character.
Okay, I'm going to
against
cut you
Thomas.
both a
Well,
bit
no, one
shorter.
other thing,
I've
he's
got
got
you.
a physical edge of physical
got
strength
you.
where he can go to the body on Ford. But
I'm gonna have to
at
go to the
end of
body on
day,
you in a minute and get you to pick.
Well, at the end of the day, it'll be Ford, I think.
I'm going to go Bull.
And I'm going Ford. Hamza Shiras and Ammo Williams.
Yeah, Shiraz, I think, is the next star.
Wow, okay.
I think Williams. Look, Williams has the potential. He's a southpaw. He has the potential. He's undefeated. He hasn't learned how to lose. Either one have.
He's fluid.
And that's a great strength. And he also has the ability to go ride a bike. You know, he's got great legs. And if he wants to jump on that bike, I don't know if it'll be the most exciting night, but it'll be a night where his opponent will have to figure it out. We'll have to find him and go to the body, take some air out of the tires. But I'm going with Shiraz.
We've
Yeah.
talked about it all, but you?
Yeah, exactly.
Shiraz as well. With Shiraz all the way around. Then we got
You
to come.
English people pronounce words better than I do.
No, you
So
don't. No,
forgive
no.
me,
Listen,
forgive
as I
me,
said to you
forgive
earlier,
me.
we love you, but
Thank
you're always
but,
our scruffy cousin.
No. Well,
Heavyweights. Heavyweights.
What does that mean?
It's
scruffy
a
cousin?
joke.
That's a
a joke.
compliment, right?
It's a compliment. Of
All
course,
right,
it's a
good,
compliment.
good,
We're
good.
cousins.
Good.
Of course, it's a compliment.
Good.
Heavyweights. Daniel Dubois and Filip Hrgovic. They pretty much weighed in the same weight, 17.5 stone, 245, 247 pounds.
Dubois 17.5.
Dubois has been on a
pounds.
journey. Dubois has been on a journey where, to me, he's on a journey like Buster Douglas was years ago. And I know that's going to throw you off a little bit when I say that, but it's okay. Where Buster Douglas always had the goods to be a heavyweight champ, but he never put it together. You know, he didn't have the fortitude. Let's be honest. Let's get right to it. And Tony Tucker, when push came to shove, when the devil knocked at the door, he didn't answer the door.
Yeah,
he
sure.
didn't go and face what he had, and he came up short. And so people said, "Oh no, he'll never be champ." And then one night against some guy named Mike Tyson
In 1990 in Tokyo.
he put it all together.
Yeah.
He was no different as a fighter that night. He always had those skills. He always had that ability. But that night he had fortitude. That night he had resolve. That night he had the championship mind
Nice.
to not give in, to not break down, to not evaporate when the pressure came. And you know what? Dubois was very similar. He's winning the fight against Joyce, and he doesn't get there. He breaks down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying I give him nothing but credit for what he's come back to do. And then against Usyk, we understand the controversy. We know that. But put that aside. At the end of the day, he just came up short when the moment came. Okay, and then what does he do? He goes in there with Darryl Miller, and Miller. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You could talk about how heavy he was, everything else, but this is a guy who had been an undefeated fighter. This is a guy who was a good fighter, and this is a guy who brought pressure. He really, in his mind, said, "You know what? I'm going to break this guy down."
Sure,
I've watched what Teddy's talking about, and you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to keep coming until he finally spits the bit, and he never spit the bit.
A man 5 stone heavier than him as well.
And-
you know?
and-
Daniel showed character.
big
that
sofa
night. He showed
cover
character
the
the
whole
whole
time.
he always showed talent, but that night
Yeah.
he put it together with character,
Yeah.
as you just said.
Yeah.
And so here's my question: is that he fought that night for something a lot more important than a
From the
prize.
7th round, he did the job.
He fought for redemption.
Absolutely.
He fought for his soul. He fought for the right to feel the way he wanted to feel as a man.
100%.
And if he brings that again, he wins.
You're very convincing, but I'm going for Hrgovic.
No,
Who are you going
I'm
for?
I'm picking Hrgovic.
Yeah, there you go.
No, because
No, wait.
I think he'll keep it on the outside enough to win.
He's
But-
smart,
I'm going Dubois.
Hrgovic.
I'm
You're
going
going
Dubois.
Dubois.
And
We're
you know
both.
what-
I've
you
got
know
to
what?
move it along.
Teddy's a
But
solid
no,
fighter.
you know what you
No,
must be
yeah.
saying? You must be saying Dubois is going to get inside
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's a better inside fighter.
I'm in the gym with Daniel Dubois week in, week out at the moment, close to him with Don Charles, who's done a great job. Yeah, I tell you what, he's got the physicalities. Don Charles has done a great
It's
job
brilliant
here.
with you
He
two, it
has.
really
I met
is.
him, and
Absolutely.
he's done a great job.
so-
But he's going to have to get in
Yeah.
close to win that fight.
Final,
I agree.
final
I
fight
agree.
to look at. Final fight to look at. Zhili Zhang, just over 20 stone. Deontay Wilder, just over 15 stone. Both men just lost to Joseph Parker. It's a great matchup, Teddy. How do you see it?
What's the line on Father Time?
The line is that Zhang
What's the line on Father Time?
waits for no man.
No,
Waits for
Father,
no
because
man.
I want to know what Vegas has on for Father Time. Because Father Time's going to show up in this fight.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. I mean, you got one guy who's 41 years old, the other guy who's 38, and here's another thing.
So someone's going to age in this fight, you're saying?
Well, I think they've aged already.
Yeah,
but they might age a little more and show their age a little bit more. But here's the thing. I always said that when I used to go crazy on ESPN and go nuts when they would rob a kid, you know, the reason why I would go nuts is because every time a fighter gets in a ring, they leave a piece of themselves in that ring.
Yeah.
They don't get it back.
Yeah.
They don't get it back. You don't go to a window and say, hey, can I have back what I just left over there last night? No, it doesn't come back. And so both these guys have left pieces of themselves in the ring. And Wilder has left some of himself in the ring against Fury. And Fury left something of himself
30
against
rounds
Wilder.
Great shot.
30 rounds
Let
of
me
it.
tell you. So that is going to be on display. I think it comes down to age is going to be involved with endurance. Because when you got a guy as big as Zhang and he's 41, it does interfere with his endurance. It showed in a couple of his fights. It showed in a fight against Hergovich where he just ran out of gas.
I
at the
think
end.
Wilder,
particularly showed against Parker.
Wilder in his
Parker.
last fight, Father Time had caught up with him. It weren't just a bad performance.
that's
He
another
looked
thing.
old overnight. Can you
But he's
regain that?
dangerous.
Yeah, but
But he's dangerous early,
And this is-
Zhang.
And you know
He's
what's even
dangerous early against Joyce.
But you know what's
dangerous early against Parker, down twice.
Yeah, he's dangerous. We know that. But what's really pertinent in this, what's really relative in this, is that he's fighting a southpaw. And when I did ESPN all those years, I always called the right hand the southpaw killer. And that is an X factor. And it's the right hand of him against the southpaw of Wilder. It can show itself.
A quick fact for
We
you:
have to-
Deontay Wilder's boxed 7 southpaws, 7 knockouts, all victories. There you
Okay,
go.
it is.
Pick. We got
7
to
and
pick.
0.
Thank
We
you for
got to
verifying.
There you go, my
pick.
friend.
We got to
There you go,
pick
my
because we
friend.
got to
Thank
finish.
you.
We got
Thank
to
you.
pick.
I want him with me all the time. Because
We got to pick.
All right.
At the end of the day, there's 2 ways to neutralize a guy with a bomb. One is to move around the way Fury did. Stop that smiling. One way is to move around the way that Fury did the first time. Keep him off balance. Don't let him get set for that power. And he still got caught.
Yeah.
And he fought a draw. Some people thought he won, but he fought a draw. The other way is to do what he did with what Fury did with Wilder the second time. Back
Put
him
it
up.
on him.
Yeah.
Back him up behind that
Back
big
up the
jab.
bully.
I think that if Zhang can back him up behind that jab, it's very similar to what Fury did in the second fight. Back him up, keep him from being set to punch, and then deliver the southpaw left hand. I think he has a chance to do damage in the first 4 rounds. But I tell you, all bets are off if he doesn't get it done.
that in this
his
Zhang's.
first.
Okay.
All bets are off because Wilder, I think, will have a little more endurance, and he's got a lot of heart, and I think that he will do some damage later in the fight.
Okay, I got to close the pod now.
Can Wilder go
7:30.
8-0 with 8 KOs?
7:30 tomorrow night. We are live on the watch along back in the studio. We are out here. We'll get Teddy on the broadcast
No, I'm
at
not
some
coming
point.
back, but
He's
but
not
it's
coming
been-
back. It was great fun.
but it's been
He's
good.
never coming back. I'm
But-
never going to call you my scruffy cousin ever again.
No, it's
You've been
okay.
watching the
Hey,
Fight Night podcast.
You know what matters in life? I was taught this a long time ago by a very smart man. When somebody said something that they could have took it the wrong way, and the guy turned to him, and I'll say it to you, smile when you say that. That's all that matters.
My scruffy
There you go.
cousin.
All
much love to you, my scruffy
all that
cousin.
matters is how it's meant in your heart.
And isn't
Nothing
it?
else.
Listen, we love
Brilliant.
you.
Well done,
You've been
Teddy.
brilliant.
Bless you,
You've been
mate.
watching the Fight
What a
Night
great day.
pod. We'll be back tomorrow live 7:30 in the studio back in London and out here from Riyadh. 5 versus 5. Don't miss it.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.